So what happened was, I think Luma threw everything off because they used to have a system in place where I could do a series, right? And people could sign up for the whole series, but they decided to get rid of that feature. So what happened was, because they got rid of it, all these people that had signed up for the course, all of a sudden got cut off. So I think what took place was them not knowing that there was probably going to be more, but yeah, I think that's, I don't know why Luna did that, but I told them that was a terrible thing they did, so they don't listen very well, by the way. Their support is horrible. Are you here for Nomad?
No, sorry, is this on the Meetup? No?
No, this is not yet. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
So yeah, so we'll be covering that. So sort of the intro is just like how to get started, what to think, like what to know, things to be aware of. Some people dive into it and then they struggle, and then other people are too scared to go into it because they're just like, how do you actually do this? You know. So, and then finding gig work, whereas like you work for somebody versus like you working for yourself. You know. So. All right. So I always cover digital nomad news because most people don't ever look for this stuff, but it's out there. So Italy has a digital nomad visa. They covered quite a bit of it, and it is pretty interesting, but it is also a little hard to get. So there's a digital nomad visa who visited 20 European cities. Hey, he said, hey, like these are the 3 best that I visited so far that are catered to digital nomads. Thailand actually launches a 5-year digital nomad visa program. So that is probably the longest you can have a digital nomad visa for in the world. Whereas I'm sure others are probably going to start catching up to that. And then how you can work remotely from countries that don't have a digital nomad visa. That I thought was a pretty interesting article because not every country out there has one, especially Singapore. Singapore will never get one. And I know this because I've talked to them. And then world's first internet safety system, and where digital nomad visas miss the mark. So this one right here, I'll kind of like briefly touch on it. Yeah, so going into the numbers, you do need to be able to provide a minimum of, so 28, I think that comes out to like what, 32, 34, I believe, yeah, about so, in US dollars. But you do need to show proof of contract of employment. So if you work for yourself, you do need to have at least 2 to 3 years back pay, just showing that you actually are a digital nomad and you do work for yourself. If you work for a company, they will provide the contracts, they will do all that stuff, so that's very easy to submit to the government. But you do need to show that, yes, you have this stuff, and you also have health insurance, international health insurance on top of that. So you will need a lot of health insurance, by the way, as a traveler, when you go into this kind of stuff, if you go out and don't come back. So that's kind of the thing. What else? Keep in mind it's only good for 1 year, but it can still be renewed. And then you can apply for residency once you arrive. It is really hard to sort of get residency, but I'm sure you can probably work something out with your company if that's who you go through. If you don't go through your company, then yes, it's going to be a little challenging to get your residency past 1 year. So, but yes, so just to let you know, there is a flood of applicants. So if you decide to apply and you think like, oh, I'll get it in the next couple of months, no. So it will be a while. So if you decide to apply tomorrow, good luck getting it next year. You know, so just heads up on that. But yeah, so that kind of covers that part right there. Where is the other one? Yes. So this one right here, I thought was pretty interesting. Yeah, they go through like so many digital nomad. Like I've gone through so many other like people's profiles, and again, Seville, Spain, tends to come out on top. Anything in Spain really is like a huge nomad hub, next to Thailand, next to Bali, things like that. Just because, one, it's so welcoming to digital nomads, and it's a little easier to qualify to get it. So, and here you only need to show income requirements of about $2,600 a month. So if that's what you're looking for, and if you've never been, you will meet a lot of people in cafes with a lot of spread out gear on the tables and co-working spaces. That tends to be a digital nomad. So Athens, Greece is another one. Just because, one, it's obviously a big tourist spot, but they do have a higher income threshold. So just be aware it's $3,700 a month. And again, they do require you to have at least 2 to 3 years back pay to show that you are a digital nomad if you're working for yourself, you know. And then Croatia. So that's a beautiful place. That is on my bucket list for the next time I go out and travel. I would love to go and do that whole area. So Matthew, if you're looking to cover that region, you know.
In the Mediterranean?
Yeah, Croatia.
Oh. Yeah, I heard a lot of good things.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. Like the coastal towns there, gosh, yeah. But it is very tiny. It's a very nice place and it's very welcoming. So you have a lot of like, you know, warmer weather. You know, so, but yes, Croatia, and again, threshold is $2,700 a month. And I'm sure if you applied now, you could probably get one within the next couple months or so. But yeah, it's a really nice spot. So anybody been to Croatia? Yeah, no? Okay, all right, okay.
I have a friend from there though.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. What part?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
But he's a digital nomad himself.
Nice,
Based
yeah.
out of Croatia, yeah.
Yeah. So this one right here, they launched their 5-year program. So this one's a lot nicer. Up until now, you can only stay on tourist visa up to 60 days. So it is a huge jump. If you do decide to apply, it must be at least 20 years old. And yeah, this is very, very interesting just because of the fact that a lot of people in that region for digital nomad lifestyle, Thailand, Indonesia, Bali, hey, how's it going? Those are the areas most people start off with. Like if you're just starting this lifestyle and you need some place to go, that's the region to go. Just because like one, it's really affordable, 2, you have a higher population of younger and older people that are there. Because the younger people have almost no money and older people have a lot of money, and they're like, they want to travel, they want to do all their stuff, they sold their house, they sold all their cars, they want to do this. The younger people are like, hey, I want to go see the world, this is where I want to go. This is where they usually end up. So if you're looking for that, hostels, obviously co-working spaces, things like that, co-living spaces, those are huge in that region. You know, you could probably find some of them for as little as like $2 a night, $3 a night, if you're passing through. So, but yeah, other requirements: applicants cannot work for a company based in Thailand, and must pay an application fee of about $10,000, which is about $270. So not too bad. Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't hurt the wallet that much. But yeah, so if you're looking to spend that much time in that region, then by all means, you know. So, but just be aware, like you will be having to learn your visa system, because yeah. I thought this one was interesting right here. I just wanted to cover it. It caught my attention just because like crypto life is huge. Anybody know where crypto life is like even bigger in the US?
Oh.
I mean, I know in the US.
I don't know.
Puerto Rico.
Where?
Puerto Rico.
No, not as much as Miami.
No.
Yeah, Miami, New York, but Miami is huge. Miami has a huge crypto. In fact, they have one of the biggest crypto conferences out there. In fact, we just had Consensus like what, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? So that was all here. So tons of crypto people here, you know, for that conference. But yes, Miami has a huge, huge following for that kind of stuff. But I just thought it was interesting because, yeah, Bali out there, like so many people go out there and then they'll start their own like private exchanges, and then they'll build out their own coins and then hype them up and like build out this lifestyle, and then yeah. So just thought I would share that. So if you want to look at that article, that's the one right there. But a lot of people out there do crypto. So yes, this is an interesting one just because a lot of people, there are still a lot of countries that just don't have digital nomad visas, and many of them just will never have a digital nomad visa. And others are realizing they need to start catching up if they want to get that audience, because a lot of people are realizing like remote work is coming, it's here, and you still have companies, I'm not going to name a certain university, who don't understand remote work, okay? But yes, it is here, you know, and there are companies that still want to fight it, especially universities. So.
What, like Texas?
Yes.
That just happened last week.
That just happened last week.
What happened?
The president of UT Austin was like, everybody needs to get back to campus because we're not serving our students.
Right. And I'm not going to name another person who decided to instigate that.
Abbott.
So
I'll name it because I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah, thank you, please, yeah. So when I started to read all the comments below that, there were so many pissed off people.
Mhm.
And it was so much to the understanding of like, you really don't understand the future of work,
Yeah.
you know? Like, go ahead.
I was just, I have a data point on it. So I actually work in academia still up in Philly. They've given away the office building. That was years ago. I mean, they were kind of holding on for a while just to like wait and see what happens.
Mhm.
Today we just had a meeting and apparently they're even gonna like reclassify like where we're living and our tax deductions based on that, which gotta love Texas.
Yeah.
So a little different.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I think UT it was said they have till like 9/1, and it's now getting towards the end of mid-June, so it's like just a little bit of notice, 2 months.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
people like bought houses and moved somewhere, you know. That's
Right.
kind of a.
I mean, it's like Apple. Like when Apple said like their entire AI division had to, you know, you're not working remote anymore, they got pissed.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, why do we have to be in a physical location to do our job?
Yeah.
You know? And many of them, yes, they did buy houses like elsewhere.
Mhm.
They you know, went and they're just like, hey, this is our new life. And now all of a sudden, like, you're told like, hey, you can't live there anymore. You gotta sell your house. You gotta sell all your stuff. Like, how pissed would you be? You know? Like, it's just frustrating, you know, because this is what's happening. Whereas, let me bring up this one thing that I just saw. Where is it? Do you know this guy? Do y'all know him?
I want to know him.
Yeah, you do want to know him. I was watching this today. This was shot here in Austin. So this guy made software. And I didn't realize, like, I thought we had fixed this problem already, right? Because, like, when I was in college, I'm like, I had that software. Why is this still being worked on? So basically what he made was a piece of software that uses AI to write your citations for your research papers faster. Yeah, I know. It's funny, but it's also frustrating the fact that like 3 months, that's what he made, right? And when I was in college, like we had all this stuff, we had websites, you just sign in, you did all that stuff, hey, what are you doing? Submit all your things, does it for you, boom, finished, right? Like, why are we still doing this, right? So when I was watching this, it was just like, he was in a situation where like, he applied for over 500 jobs in tech and not a single one took him, okay? So he just sat down and he's like, hey, what's the most frustrating thing? And he went to colleges and said like, hey, what is your problem in college? Well, what can I do to fix it? And they're like, research papers. Like, it's so frustrating. Even though people don't really read research papers, you know, like, it's not like pastime, you know. So he sat down, he's like, well, I can't get a job. I have to stay here somehow because he can't get a visa with the company. So what does he do? He decides to build his own company, do all this stuff, hire it out, get all these clients, start building really fast and scale really fast. And that's what he did. So within about a year period or so, he had already grown to other universities real fast. So when I look at like startups, I look at it in terms of like, okay, if you're gonna do a startup, how fast are you gonna scale? Like how fast are you gonna move? I meet people who are like, this is my second year of my startup. I'm like, cool, how many clients do you have? Oh, we're still trying to get to 20. Okay, I think it's time to stop. It's not working, you know? Whereas people like this, they scale really fast and they move really fast. So, but yes, if you don't know AppSumo, that is Noah Keegan. Noah Keegan made AppSumo. He lives here in Austin. He wrote the book $1 Million Weekend. And that's something I teach in my other class on Wednesday, because he does a lot of these kind of interviews with people like, hey, how did you scale? How did you move? How did you build so fast? What did you do? You know? But yeah, that's the one thing that remote work is showing, is just like, this is where things are happening. There was another guy on here that I was watching. He does 10 million a year and he runs 6 websites, okay? So that's remote. Like, you can do that anywhere, you know? And there's so many people I meet and so many people I see that like they build out 2 websites and they do 6 figures a month, you know? You don't need an office to do that, so. I guess universities are going backwards, you know? Thought they were the future of education. So, but yeah, I mean, like, that was one of those things that just, like, it really irritated me, because I was like, well, that defeats the point of college, man. So, so these are the conferences coming up. So I'm gonna cover some of these. I did include the dates. So if you are interested in doing this stuff and you want to really explore, or you want to join a group of people who are already doing it, these are the ones that are going to be coming up. So Nomad Cruise, they're going to have a trip from Canada, Alaska to Japan, September 29th. So if you want to join, you can join their crew. Everybody on the ship is a digital nomad. Everybody on there works for themselves in some capacity. And that's the best part about that company. They vet everybody, they go through their stuff, they check their LinkedIn, their websites. Hey, what do you do? How do you do this? What, you know, and then they also look for speakers. They look for speakers because they're looking for workshops, or looking for conferences, or looking for talks. So it's not just a party, it's a conference on a cruise ship. You know, so if that's what you're trying to do and you want to travel, there you go. You know. Nomad Base will be doing April 28th to May 11th for next year. So if you're looking to do that, I'm going to click on the links, but we're going to, you know, cover this. But Nomad Island Fest, that one looks really cool. So once I click on it, then yes, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are going to know this place. But Bangkok Nomad Fest, that's another big one that's coming up. And then Camp Indie actually ended today. And that is the adult summer camp for digital nomads. So digital nomads is a big thing. It is a real thing. And when people, like when I meet people who are just like, oh, you know, it's just a fad. Like, I don't know, do you really want to go back to a 9 to 5? Like, no, absolutely not.
Fuck that.
Exactly, you know? So, yeah, so right here, this is the website, this is what they do. They do have all this on the ship. So they have a theater, they have conference space, they have workshops, they have all this kind of stuff. So you're meeting other people, you're going through, you're traveling, you're basically growing your business as well. So you're networking with all these other nomads. And because of that, you're like, hey, how do you do your stuff? Where do you find your clients? How are you growing? How are you doing your marketing? What region do you find the most clients in? That right there gives you a lot of attention and a lot of understanding where you're like, okay, that's a cool idea, I need to do that. So yeah, that's the next one right here. Nomad Cruise 13. Vancouver to Japan. So if you're looking to sort of get out there and you want to travel in a safe way, then yes, fantastic. Lovely night in Japan. So yeah. Let me see. Yeah, there you go. Wow. Just wow. Let's see if it'll let me get there. Can it load today? Nope.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
Oh, it's because you're
so yeah.
fast.
Yeah. All right, so Nomad Base. This one right here. All right, so yeah, you got some time, you know. So if you're looking to get out there, 314 days. You can join the wait list if you want to join the wait list. But this is a big one. This is a really big conference. So if you are looking to get involved with that kind of stuff, this is the lifestyle where, just like with Nomad Cruise, they do a whole bunch of workshops as well. They do a lot of like programs, conferences, speaker events. And the best part is, if you want to speak, my recommendation is reach out to a lot of these conferences and submit. There's a big tech conference coming up over at the Barton Springs Resort, and they're already looking for speakers. So I think that's up over in August. So I'm going to be submitting for that. I'll see if it actually happens. But again, there's a lot of tech conferences that happen here in Austin, and one of the things I always tell people is submit to speak. Because if you can speak, then you can put that on your resume, you can do all that kind of stuff, get your reel, then that builds up your speaking like gigs. Because I can't tell you how many times conferences, they have speakers that drop out. You know, either they get sick or their flight gets delayed or something happens and they gotta fill that spot. So there's a whole industry of people who are speakers just to fill in those spots. So if you want to do that kind of stuff, that again, you get paid, you know, so. Nomad Island Fest. So, this one right here is pretty cool. So out in Portugal, it'll be December. So if you want to go out, this is put on by the Nomad Escape. So they are a company that puts on a lot of like these type of events. And you can go out again. The whole point of these is to do community building, networking, find out who's doing what people work the best in what regions, things like that. You know, so has any of y'all done anything like this? Like, no? Is any of this new to y'all? Yeah, okay, yeah, absolutely, yeah, okay, cool, yeah, absolutely. Would anybody want to do this? Like, I mean, like, it looks amazing,
I'd
right?
be interested for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just gonna say real quick, I've been doing a little bit of the digital nomad thing around the US for the last couple of years
Yeah,
off and
yeah.
on. Wherever I go, I'm always the only digital nomad, so it's been kind of isolating and lonely in some
Right,
way.
right, right.
It's hard to relate to people where you end up because they don't do this. And
Right.
then also, if you go to a place like that, you'll have some community and everybody knows what you're going through. Like, everybody's gonna have like resources and tips and tools to share.
Right.
Which is probably, that in and of itself is probably worth it.
Absolutely, yeah, because then you build out your own network, you build out your own base, and the best part is, like, you meet people all around the world, and they're just like, hey, that's cool, come stay with me when you come through my town, you know? So this is another one right here that they're gonna be doing, and I don't know if you wanna, like, book a flight real quick, cause it happens in a couple of days. So, June 23rd, so you can fly out there, go to that conference, and Bulgaria, so if anybody needs to get to Bulgaria real quick, I would say book now. But, yeah, so, but this is what I like about theirs. They lay out the entire schedule of how it looks. So Sunday, like 8 a.m. every morning, you have fitness programs. So like, there's always something going on. Your arrival day, you come in, registration, launch party, things like that, and then track 1 for Monday. And then what's cool is that they do an unconference thing. So this is what I like about these, is that all these digital nomads get to come in and they do an unconference. So whoever is like an expert in whatever field, they get to post their titles, whatever topics they want to speak on, and then people just vote on the ones, and then they just go listen to the speakers, you know? And then once they're done with that, they have dinner, hot springs, which I don't know, is that cool? Is that awesome? You know, that's the best part of the lifestyle, right? And then speed dating, dancing, trivia, you know, improv night. You know, you can have a fight over it, you know. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still can get over it.
I know, right? Yeah.
No, literally, I'm looking at it. I've heard a lot of good things about Eastern Europe lately.
Yeah, absolutely, you know.
Yeah, I might go.
Well, let me know, and post on TikTok. So, that's what I like about this, is the fact that they just lay it out for you so you understand like what's coming up. So this gives you a good sense of like what to expect, what to know. And for those who are very extroverted, like doing this unconference thing, like that's amazing, you know. So, and guess what? Did you see all this part right here, the ATV tour? So again, for those that like adventure, horseback riding, water rafting, hiking, Bulgarian village visit. Like you can't beat that. Okay, like that's a great conference. Okay, and if you need to do Muay Thai boxing, it is there. Or you don't want to hurt yourself, you can do automation. So yeah. So, but yes, so that's fun. And again, this one right here, it's over. They already have the dates for next summer. So if you want to go be an adult and go to summer camp, if you never went to summer camp as a kid, it's a lot of fun. Wow. So the tickets right now are $8.99 for next summer. So if you want to go, so just think of like a big like camp, upstate New York. And are you here for Digital Nomad?
Yes.
Yeah, come on in, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, out in the, you know, countryside, lots of pine trees up there. I can play the video. Let's
This is camping. And here at Location 8, our sole mission is helping you create the lifestyle that you want to live.
Meeting new
Friendship. Community.
It's the people. It's gotta be the people.
Friends. Fun.
Awesome. Full of kindness. Transformational.
Inspiring. Join us on the next one.
All right, yeah, so that's for next time. So if you never went to summer camp as a kid, it's a lot of fun. Oh my gosh. But yes, break free and join the ultimate adult summer camp for digital nomads, entrepreneurs, and adventure seekers. So again, this is a huge community that is growing and is only expected to get bigger for digital nomads and people who work from a laptop and travel the world. So don't ever if anybody says oh, it'll eventually fade away, no, it will not, trust me. So these are what I'm working on right now. So I'm trying to move this to also a casual meetup, because I noticed on the Nomad list, they had a meetup here in Austin, and they only had 5 people that showed up last year in November, and then it died off. But there's so many meetups on Nomad list that I'm trying to bring that back here for Austin, because this is a huge hub for digital nomads for the US. I'm looking to do paid in-person workshops, so how to get started, basically improving your tech skills if you need them. Because I've noticed a lot of people are trying to find something to build so they can support their lifestyle. That, I think, is the hardest thing that people run into, is how do I support this lifestyle? And again, I always tell people it doesn't always have to be tech, it can be something simple. Again, there are people I know who do crocheting and they make $17K a month. Okay, so you don't have to be a developer. So, and doing more online teaching for events, because again, there are the people who couldn't make it tonight. There are those who are out there in rural towns, rural places, and they realize hey, this is something that needs to be pushed out more. All the digital nomad videos that I watch, again, they're from the other side of the world. And I noticed they come from a lot of Indonesia, Bali, Bangkok, Thailand, Southeast Asia. And a lot of them don't really resonate that much in the US. There are some that are on YouTube here, but it's not as much, So I see more interviews done in Eastern Europe, but for the most part, it's in that region, so yeah. So, and then I'm trying to get to the Austin conference level, so that way I can start doing what y'all saw for the conferences, but bring that to here, on a larger scale, so. Because it's Austin, what goes on here? Look how many celebrities are here, look how many influencers are here, things like that, so. Yeah, any questions, things like that, so, yeah. All right, a little humor. Anybody can relate?
Yeah.
So, all right, so this one I saw, where, I don't know if you ever look at these kind of videos where they go around asking nomads in a lot of these Bangkok, Bali, Indonesia area, hey, what do you do, how much do you make, things like that. So I thought I would play for a little bit.
Alright, what's up? In
We're not
today's
gonna watch the
video,
whole
we're going to be
thing.
asking digital nomads, what do they do for a living? We're in Bali, Indonesia, one of the biggest hubs in the world for...
Whoops, let me go back, sorry.
Alright, what's up? In today's video, we're going to be asking digital nomads, what do they do for a living? We're in Bali, Indonesia, one of the biggest hubs in the world for remote workers. We'll be talking to business owners, freelance workers, and entrepreneurs, and asking them questions like, how much money do you make? What do you do for a living? And asking them advice on how you can become a digital nomad as well, and more. You're going to want to watch this whole video and listen to each piece of advice to learn exactly how you can make money, travel, and live anywhere in the world that you want. You do not want to miss this. I decided to go to Tropical Nomad Co-working Space, a place where some of the most successful digital nomads come to work, all in a relaxing environment. What's your age, name, and what do you do for a living?
My age, okay, I'm 34. Look at the website.
What's your name?
Debbie.
What's your favorite part about living in Bali?
It's always really hot. The people here are really, really nice. The grabs are really good. So you can order food online for really, really cheap. You can get around really cheap, and you can cut through traffic really easily at motorbikes as well. And you don't need to wear a helmet.
Yeah, wear a helmet, please. How did you get your remote job?
Got it by accident. I started a consultancy firm. I realized that people were actually needing a website. It took me 3 months for someone to build my website, and I was really annoyed that I just built something in 1 day online myself. So it's really, I did the job. So that's how the website development company started.
Where are you from, by the way?
I'm Chinese, and I was born in Australia.
What's the biggest misconception about being a digital nomad?
That we don't know much money. Yeah.
Let's go.
like it.
What's your daily schedule like?
That's quite funny. So I wake up in the morning, I don't my phone for maybe like 30 minutes, do some emails in bed, like horizontally, either meditate, lay there for a little bit longer. I look at some funny reels online, so I reactivate my social media. I know 8:30, I come to the co-working space, pretend to do work for an hour, and I walk around, have coffee, chit chat, my sister starts work at like 9, do 2 hours of work, and then the rest of the day.
So the reason why I did that was just because like for time, but if it's too fast, I can always go back to normal. And then she'll
She's a
sell-
fast
she'll-
talker.
And then like maybe a few meetings during the day. Every day is different. Maybe like do my nails, you know, maybe do my hair. But I would say majority of my time here is either eating or chit-chatting. And I go to the gym. Like,
You?
Yeah.
Go to the gym?
Yeah. Came from boxing.
Alright, show us what you got. What's your 1-2 look like?
I know, I'm embarrassed. I can't do the 1-2.
What's the best advice you can give somebody to become a digital nomad?
Truth is, if you love what you do, everything just falls into play. And you just have to network and like chit chat to people, because some people have really, really good ideas and have done it. And you can also, you know, like take their ideas, make it better, make it your own. And take the risk, Like you have to believe in yourself that you can do it. Move to a country that is much more affordable as well, so you've got a longer runway if you're, you know, short on budget.
What is the most important skill that you've learned to help you on your journey?
Hyper focus, so dedicate some time when you're really, really starting out. You just have to, you know, have no distractions and just really, really focus on your work. And then everything just pays off.
What's your advice to make a lot of money?
You need to start somewhere. So as an example, when I started really, really small, but now, and then you build up the portfolio. Yeah, you build up, you know, confidence, your knowledge, you start chatting to other people as well, you know, being surrounded by other entrepreneurs, learn from like people that have done it.
What's your name, age, and what do you do?
Alright, so I'll start right there, but if you want to watch more, that's the name of the video. But that gives you a sense of like what people are doing, like how they live their lives. Like, if you look at like how she does her stuff, like, why would you give that up, right? Like, if you know you can get like 5 new clients every single week because of how you run your business, like you don't need to work in a cubicle to do that, right? Like you don't need somebody over you if you know like you can structure your own time. And that's the thing about digital nomad lifestyle is like, if you can structure your own time and focus, yeah, you can grow your business really fast, you know? But I meet the digital nomads who are like, yeah, I want to go out there, I want to live the lifestyle, I want to party, I want to do all these cool things. Like, yeah, but you still have to make money. You still have to run a profitable business. Because they look at the fun side of it, and then they look at the fun side of it, but they don't realize like the back side of it. And that is, if you know how to automate a lot of this stuff, this lifestyle can easily be achievable. You know, so imagine running 3 different websites. You automate each one, they all become passive income, right? So then you can focus on doing the next big thing. So, any questions on that?
I have some questions.
Okay, yeah.
But it's kind of unrelated.
Go ahead, yeah.
Like, I'm curious about you, like, is it common for digital nomads to have, like, their hub? Like, is Austin, like, your hub? And then you're doing a lot of traveling? Like, in between, like, because obviously you're here right now.
I'm here right now because, like, I've done this program because I did travel,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw, like, this world of, like, hey, there's all this stuff happening out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what's really going on. And then you meet the people who have no clue what's going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just like, I have a 9 to 5, I do this. I'm like, well, what are you trying to do? It's like, oh, I want to run my own website agency and I want to do this. I was like, cool, why aren't you doing that?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I have bills, I have this, I have that. I was like, oh, so you have tie downs.
Yeah.
You know? And then I meet the people that are just like, well, how do I undo those tie downs and get to that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then I've learned that whole system of like transition. And that's a new industry in itself that's growing. Transition, because that's the thing that most most Americans don't get.
Yeah, can you expound on transition? What do you mean by that?
So for example, like, okay, let's say you have a house, let's say you have an apartment, you're 25 years old, you just finished college, you have debt, you have all these things, you're scared to do this lifestyle because like, I need the regular paycheck, I need the benefits. So then I come in and say, okay, cool, why don't you do this? To get started, go on your weekends and travel to a new city, okay? Go do that, take your laptop, build a small website, and let's say you just do websites, right? Like you build websites as an example. See on a Saturday how many people you can get as clients and what that feels like, okay? So if you fly out to Atlanta, you know you're coming back Sunday night, okay? Can you pick up 2 clients in one weekend and then build from there? And then you slowly transition that into like, okay, I'm gonna go to another on the weekend, and I'm gonna go to Miami. I'm gonna go somewhere, I'm gonna go to events, see if I can pick up 3 clients. And then I'm gonna use another weekend, I'm gonna go to Chicago. And then you're slowly getting into this habit of traveling, right? And you're trying to understand like, how do I balance that? But if you can get to the point where like, all these clients are building up and now you have 20 regular paying clients a month, do you have enough now to transition to that lifestyle?
Okay. And like, do you have like an apartment, like a hub, so that you just, is it a month-to-month thing, or do you like sign a lease and you're like, yeah, I'm there 10% of the year, but it doesn't matter because that's like my home base?
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, for my situation, it's knowing that like, when this is sort of said and done, then it's either gonna be moved to a conference level that I can run like twice a year or once a year. And then I know that when I travel, then I can bring all those people that I meet, hey, like, go check out my conference in Austin. Because the idea is you're networking, you're trying to build that base. And for some people, their job is to run events and conferences. And I've met so many people from here who, they run parties, events, networking, stuff like that, all over the US, you know, and that's their business. So if you're trying to help people network and meet other people, then you're just like, hey, what industry or what people are you trying to get to? And for some, it's not necessarily the case of like, I want to meet more digital nomads.
Yeah.
I want to meet the digital nomads that are doing $1 million a month.
Yeah.
I want to meet the ones that are selling physical products, drop shipping, things like that. How are they doing? You know, so there's all these different verticals in that lifestyle, you know, so. But yes. So does that help? Yeah.
That helps.
Okay.
And I do have more questions, but I'm gonna save.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, as we go through, I'm sure more will pop up. But yes, I mean, the idea, I encourage people is go travel, even if it's a day trip.
Yeah.
Like, Texas is so big, there's so many small towns. I just say grab like a camera, and go shoot something, talk about the experience. Who here has been to Beeville, by the way? Who's gone to Beeville?
Beeville?
Beeville. Yeah, see, nobody knows about Beeville.
Beeville?
Beeville. Like the bee?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ville. Yeah, see?
Oh.
It's a town here in Texas. Okay, it's between San Antonio and Corpus Christi. You're probably never going to want to visit it, but the idea though is like, go travel, because you have no idea like what you might run into. Who here has been to Eagle Pass? Why would you go there? But who has been, you know? Right, because it's so far, it's way out there in the desert, and you're just like, what am I going to do in Eagle Pass? Like, there's nothing, right? But if you're a digital nomad, you travel for the experience, you travel for the content, you travel for like, what can you share and show people, right? So then that gives you another reason to be like, hey, what are they doing here? So on that note, I'm going to show something real quick. There is a program that I think is really cool. So this is called Nomads Giving Back. And how it works is, if you want to travel for cheap, and you want to have a free place to stay, sign up for this program. So what you do is you sign up, and you say like, hey, this is what I can teach, this is what I can do, okay? Somewhere around the world, some community will reach out to you and be like, hey, can you come teach that to us? Can you come do that for us? And then they will provide housing, they will do all that stuff. You fly out, you pay for your airline ticket, you don't have to worry about housing, and they make sure all the students show up.
Wow.
Okay? Imagine how much content you could build just from doing that. And then you can shoot that and be like, now you can move to other different areas. So more people see that from your YouTube channel, you're teaching, you're doing all these things, you're getting involved in the community. Now somebody sees your channel and be like, hey, can you come do that for us? So that builds out your business, if that's what you want to do. You know? Because now all of a sudden you have all these places around the world to stay at for free, and you're sharing your knowledge, and you're changing the community, and you're doing all this other stuff. You're posting about it. All of a sudden, you're out there now. So now your network has grown. More people know about what you do, and then all of a sudden, you move to another level that most people don't think about, and that is corporate gigs. Because those corporations will see that and be like, hey, come do that for us. And we'll give you a 6-figure check.
Very cool.
So, the first one is content creation. Like that one, so that one right there should be a no-brainer because this is a new job now. Ironically enough, our education system does not recognize this. If you look at middle school, high school, and university level, there are no courses that say Intro to Content Creation, okay? And yet, I don't know if you see this new industry coming up, but you have a lot of teenagers and preteens who are now being picked up by agencies that only follow content creators. And that is a new industry. Yet when they go to school, they're not understanding like, how do I make better content? How do I create a strategy for boosting my numbers? How do I get to the conference level? How do I do all that stuff? So you have these agency owners that come in and have to show these kids what to do, right? So if you go to marketing school at a regular American university, you're going to learn a thing called Facebook. And they're going to teach you a thing called like posting. And that's as far as they're going to get. Because it never went past the idea like, okay, now everybody's going to become social media managers, right? Isn't that what marketing has turned into?
Yeah.
So it used to be before Facebook, what was marketing considered? Okay, we're going to put a press release together, we're going to put some flyers, put some brochures, get things out of the newspaper, very old school, you know? Now it's analytics, what is the traction rate, what are the view counts, how many shares did I get, things like that, you know? But to a 15-year-old, it's how much engagement is my articles you can go into through YouTube channels, and they just put out like instrumental music, beats, things like that. How many times have you all go home and like put, you know, a YouTube channel music in the background, yet every time you do that, that person's making money because of that engagement, you know?
Both sides of it.
Right, exactly. I was walking by a cybersecurity training program, right? They had that on the background. So I was like, great, she's making money still. So, but again, these are all different areas that people go into, and you can make a lot of money. You know, so anyone here thinks they can make money off of one of those industries? Like, who here eats every day? I'm just curious. Does everybody eat every day?
I eat every day.
Okay, good. Thank God. So you can do a whole thing on food, right? Like, even if you just do that, what is the saying now about your camera?
The camera eats first.
Thank you. Your camera eats first. Okay? Because you don't want to ruin that Instagram perfect picture, because that might get you likes and reshares and be like, hey, where did you eat, right? So now all of a sudden, that's a whole industry in itself, okay? In fact, there's this book that I'm reading right now, and it's called Swipe Up for More. And it's the inside life of influencers, and like how they got there.
I just found out about this credit card that pays you back based on like your content. So like you go to a restaurant. And
Do you want to share what that is? What is it?
I need that. I'll find it.
I'll
find it.
Okay, yeah.
Give me
That's you need that right there. So, but again, right here, there's lifestyle. Who here knows Max Wyatt? Oh wow. Oh my God. That's crazy. Okay, if you have Snapchat, go look up Max Wyatt. Okay? This guy, I think he's like 22, 23 years old. His lifestyle will completely blow you away. Okay? He's just finishing a thing in Italy right now. He was on a yacht that took him to Portofino, and that was part of his whole company system. But what he does is a lifestyle traveling type deal, and he gets paid for this stuff. So because he traveled so much and he knew so many events that were going on, he built a lifestyle experience. And what he did was, he said, hey, look, if you use my company, I give you 70% off business tickets. And he has so many clients now who post on TikTok and Instagram all their experiences. And he actually gets them 70% off their tickets for flights. So if you're going from London to Dubai, or from like Dubai to like Malaysia in that region, or Singapore, yes, he can help you with that. And then when you get off and you get to the airport, they have a Bentley or a G-Wagon or anything like that, a high-end car that picks you up for free and takes you to your hotel. And he built all that because he networked so much. So he has a whole system because of that lifestyle that built out from there as well. You know? Newsletters. Newsletters are a big industry. There was one that I showed in the $1 million one-person business class that I teach. This is a guy, I think he's like 27 years old. He's a data scientist. And all he does is curate these really interesting articles that are very data-intensive research projects. But he has a team that does that for him. he charges $15 for monthly access. He has 50,000 subscribers. How much is he making a month?
100, 200. I can't do math right now.
Does anybody want to, like, another guess?
750,000.
More than $1 million.
It's more than $1 million? All right, so he has 50,000 times $15. That's a month.
Oh, never mind.
Okay, that's what he makes a month.
So what does he curate? He brings out.
So he does data science articles. So it can be in different industries like for news, politics, environment, things like that.
He analyzes them and brings
So
them
he has a team that analyzes that information, and then he has them put together all the information, and then he has writers that take that information and then write out the article. And then the people who subscribe get access to what he writes.
So he's doing research for them. You can access. Selling research?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody here can do that. Okay. Anybody here. The only difference between what he's doing and what y'all are doing is he is very good at marketing. So how is he getting all those subscribers? What is he doing?
Networking.
He's networking. But where is he networking? Who wants to read
data
that?
science conferences?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, he's going there and saying, I run a newsletter that covers this and this. And then he shows them samples, so he gets people to sign up. So even if he gets, let's say, 20, 30 new subscribers every single week, that's still enough. So for most individuals, if you're making $750 a month, is that good in the content creation world?
750,000.
Enough. That's enough.
Yeah, $750K a
Chump
month.
change, man. Barely buy lunch.
And remember, 50K in the world of content creation is super low. That is still super low, okay? So when you look at the people who have 100K subscribers or followers on Instagram and TikTok, or even YouTube, they're making close to $500,000 or $1 million.
Every year.
Maybe. It could be a month, it could be every 3 months, it varies. Because it depends on how much of a networker person you are and how much motivation you have. Because you can take 100K and do $1 million a month. Because that's enough for you to be able to go like, hey, I have 100K that follow me, I can go here, I can go to these different events, and then that's enough to bring that traction. You know, even if you have 50K and you have a very small niche, right? That's still enough for somebody to go in and look at it like, okay, cool, I want to partner with you. Send that out, make a video, do this, you know? So, any questions about this? Because this is where a lot of the stuff is going. In the class that I'm going to cover on Wednesday, there's a guy who I'm going to talk about. He does content creation, which he had no intentions of doing, and now he does 6 figures within, I think, an 8-month period. So I'm going to cover that. But again, this is what's happening, you know. And I can't tell you how many times I've met people who are completely against this. You know, and it's so weird to hear that. So the other one is IT website work. So just like that girl was talking about, she builds websites. What's crazy is like, I used to build websites a long time ago as a kid, you know? And yet I meet so many people who run website building agencies. And it's still a thing.
Isn't that played out? That's what I'm saying. Isn't so many people doing that and already AI can do it for you?
Oh.
That's another topic.
Wait till you see what I can do on Wednesday. I'm not going to show it today, but wait till you see what I can do on Wednesday with building websites. Like, it will literally like replace agencies.
That's what,
Or you can use that tool that I'm going to show to build an agency and make websites like you would a movie. But the thing is, it's still an industry. But it all depends on how good you are at marketing. And that's what it all comes down to. Because I've met people who, they're really bad at websites, but they get so many clients. As I always tell people, I know a lot of people that sell like really shitty products and they make $1 million a month. And then I meet people who built SaaS products and it took them 2-3 years to build out, and they have almost no clients.
Even though it's good value.
Okay.
I think this is where I struggle. Because it's like, I want to bring like impact and value. I don't want to just put out shit in the world and make fucking $1 million a month.
But isn't the game of life called make money? Like if the goal is to get to your first $1 million, get the first $1 million and then go do what you want, right? Am I wrong? Am I right? Y'all tell me. Because some people I've met who are completely against that, they're like, no, I want to earn my first million the right way. I'm like, what does that mean?
By taking 30 years to do it.
Exactly. They're like, my 401k is doing so good. I'm like, oh my god. What? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, don't you want to be that 21-year-old that like makes $1 million and like they just do like content that you think is stupid and they're like already traveling Europe,
Retired already.
right? You know, they're done, and they just post stupid videos, you know.
So what was your entry into this? Were you doing agency work, like websites?
So what I was doing was education training. So I traveled a lot and I would teach workshops. Because at the time I was teaching kids how to build apps. And there was a really cool website called Yep at the time, and it was free. And it allowed kids to learn how to build an app online. And it used a drag and drop system. And I can't tell you how many times parents would come to me, they're like, can you teach that but for adults? You know? Because kids would go home and be like, look what I made, Bob, like I have an app and everything like that. And it was really cool because the app allowed you to only share it with your certain people. So they could use it only with their friends, and they had their own private little app, you know? And then I mean, people were just like, yeah, I just took an app course and it cost me $12,000. I'm like, that sounds terrible. That sounds awful. And then I was teaching Photoshop and UI design and all these things, and there was just a huge demand for that, you know? But the thing is, I was teaching it in small Texas towns where there is nothing. And even today, there is nothing out there still, you know? So when I stopped, it was really hard for them because they had all these programs going on, and they're just like, well, we want kids to learn this stuff too. And surprisingly enough, a lot of the schools that I would try to push this into, they're just like, oh, we don't have the infrastructure to teach that, you know? It was really hard, you know? So a lot of these kids would come out of these small towns and they have almost no tech skills, you know? So it was like they didn't know how to build a website, they didn't know how to do app design, they didn't even know how to do like wireframing, all that stuff. So like, simple things, you know? So, but the app thing that I was teaching, they put it behind a paywall, and then I stopped teaching it because I was just like, that was terrible. Weebly was another one that I used to teach. And then Squarespace bought them, right? Yeah, Squarespace came in and then just destroyed the platform. I used to teach so many kids how to use Weebly, and they loved it. They would go home and build website after website. And I can't tell you how many kids would take my course, right? And what do you think they did?
Build a business.
They built an agency building websites for people. I would mean, those same kids, when they were like 12, 13 years old, 16 years old, they're running their own website agency.
They don't go to college anymore.
You know? Because they learned the standard structure of a good website. You know? And Weebly at the time was perfect for it.
Do you know what's
now
hot?
they just destroyed everything.
Do you know what's hot right now compared to Weebly? No.
So, come Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay, because there is a new site that I discovered, and when I learned about this site, I was like, why are more people not using this site? Like, I can literally build a website in like 2 minutes, full content and everything. It is crazy what this tool can do. But I was trying to get a hold of the guy who made everything. I was like, how are you promoting this? How are you doing all this stuff? He's like, why send out a newsletter? It's like, no, this is not enough. I mean, like, you have an amazing tool that uses AI to build a website for you right there, and you don't have to do a single thing. You know? And I was just like, this is, like, you should already be like growing like tremendously. Because I so many people are just like, hey, I'm gonna build your website. It's gonna take 3 months. I was like, hey, you know what? Give me that $10,000 budget. I'll do it in 2 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
And I won't charge you time. But again, this right here is still in demand. Like even building e-commerce stores for people, that's still in demand. Like if you're gonna go through like how many people still don't know how to do like a TikTok shop, you know? And yet that's where so many businesses are now growing, right? Like I meet the 17-year-olds, the 21-year-olds, the 23-year-olds that have TikTok shops, and they're doing 5 figures easily, you know?
Yeah, I think that's my problem, is I have the skill set, right? So my skill set is software development, right? So mobile web application development. It's,
Right.
My problem is finding like a niche to break into
Right.
and kind of figuring out, okay, where do I want to spend my time? Like, do I want to do e-commerce? Do I want to shoot myself in the head and do WordPress, or like
Right, yeah.
so that's kind of where my problem is, you know.
I mean, I can tell you right now, TikTok shops and Instagram stores are huge. And for a lot of people, they run their Instagram accounts like, I'm just gonna post my product and maybe it'll get traction. But many of them don't turn on the business side and run the shop itself. Okay, so then if you can show them how to do that and connect it to drop shipping, like you're gonna save them a ton of time. And then just show them like 3 steps of like how to use it, that's business right there, you know? So, if you can learn how to drop ship on a TikTok shop, store, that's another big business, you know? So. Any questions about this? So next one, help with content creation. Now you're not creating content, but you're helping the people who are doing it. And that is a huge, massive industry. I can't tell you how many times I've met people who just do video editing, and I can't tell you how many times I've watched social media personalities who even call out in their videos like, hey, if you're a video editor, please contact me. I need a video editor. I'm like, damn, like, is this how bad it is now? You know, there's a job right there, you know? They just literally ask. Even Max White was just the other day, like, hey, if y'all do social media management, if you do this, video editor, sound editing, podcasting, like, please, here's my email. Contact me, send me your resume. I'm like, people are making millions of dollars and there's their personal email, you know? So, again, this is another growing industry that people do. And you can make 6 figures easily because each one of these can be contracts. So if you're working with, let's say, 10 influencers, you can even work with micro-influencers. Do y'all know what those are? These are the people with like less than 10K followers, you know? And they're very small. So you can work with them and help them grow. So if your job is to be like, hey, I just take you from 5K to 20K and that's it, then that's your agency model, you know? So that way they know like, okay, if I'm gonna go to the next level, I need to find somebody else. But that's a whole industry itself. But yeah, brand management, content strategy, content writer. I mean, like, these were jobs that did not exist 25 years ago, you know? So imagine like the new jobs that AI is creating in the next 5 years. So, and he told me, it was scary. All right, so this is another big industry. How many times have you seen those people on YouTube or Instagram, like, I'm a personal trainer. I do mobile online coaching, things like that. That's a huge industry in itself. There was a guy that I read about where he wanted to do at the time when COVID was happening, mobile, like home personal training, right? But COVID happened, he couldn't do that. But after it ended, what he did was he went to all the hair salons and said, hey, if you bring me a client, I will pay you $25 cash. What do you think happened?
A lot of clients.
Oh, there was a lot of clients. Because all those women talk, and they're like, hey, are you looking for a personal trainer at your house? Yes, he will do such and such. How fast do you think it took him to get to 6 figures? Remember, he just used referrals. It was 8 months. So he was able to utilize a referral system that paid off, you know? And a lot of times people don't think in terms of like, how do I do creative marketing? A lot of times I meet people, they're just like, gotta post on Facebook, gotta post on Google Ads. I'm like, no, you don't. You can literally do a referral system that's solid, go out into the communities that have a lot of like networking that goes on internally, and just do a referral system that way. So marketing manager, industry consultant, motivational speaker, things like that. And now that we have AI tools out there, like how fast can you sit down and use AI to write out somebody's meal plans based off of their like dietary restrictions?
2 minutes.
Exactly, you know? And you know how many people are doing that and making 6 figures a month? Just writing out meal plans for people with specific dietary requirements? Like, it's a thing. Like, you can go to websites and be like, hey, just fill out your information, and after you're done, I will submit a personalized meal plan for week. And if you want that every single week, it's $20 a month. Are you writing it? No, AI is doing the work. Why should you be working? You know? Any questions on that? Okay. This is another industry that is huge. So virtual assistants. This is also part of what I do as well, is I get people virtual assistants. Because when you're doing this stuff as a digital nomad, like, you don't need to be doing anything. Like you need to focus on traveling and building your company. You need a team below you to grow. So they're managing your schedules. They're doing online research. They're doing data entry. They're doing your travel arrangements, email management, content writing, updates for your website, file management, lead generations, all that stuff, and lots more. Yeah.
I've worked with some virtual assistants before. My problem was like finding skilled guys. It's like I might need someone who's techy. Is that what you're good at? Like, is it people from the Philippines?
It's wherever they are. So a lot of people ask me that question, and I say it's wherever the skill set is going to come from.
But isn't that expensive if it's like from the U.S.? So I was paying. Oh, go ahead.
So I have a friend in Brooklyn, and he's a crypto developer. He did basically both of them. So he did the Philippines one for, I guess, calendar. To be honest, he didn't have time to like chat with all of his Bumble matches. So he hired somebody for like $2 an hour in the Philippines, and it went terribly. But then at $4 an hour, it went really well. So that's the threshold there. But he wanted to go further. So he's basically, I guess, outsourced most of his job at this point. And for that, he found someone in Vietnam, and he pays them $1,000 a month for that.
To do his whole job.
Pretty much. He takes meetings. And checks the code. But yeah.
You got the first day, second date.
Oh yeah.
You got to the third date.
Yeah, I guess so. Right. Yeah. But it's like in Vietnam, $1,000 a month. I think is like a good. Yeah. It's really good for over there. And he's making obviously much more than that because he's based in New York City.
Yeah.
So now he's free all the time. So what is he doing lately? He's doing things like flying lessons and stuff like that.
Sailing lessons.
Yeah, whatever you want.
So imagine you run, we're going to use the basic example, a website building agency, right? And you're looking for clients, get a virtual assistant to be like, hey, go find me all my leads. Go plaster every like Facebook group, a mom group, mommy groups, whatever, like, you know, whoever, like business owners, small business owners that need websites, and go post in Facebook groups and Instagram groups. And then whoever says, yes, put that in a spreadsheet and let me know. But again, that is an industry. And again, a lot of people I've learned are how can I put this? They don't see in a creative way how to use a virtual assistant to make them rich. Because there was an article I read about these people who run OnlyFans agencies, right? So they get all these clients, which are these models. Can one person talk to 100 people? No, right? It's not possible. So these agencies hire chatters, like Matthew was saying, to talk for them.
I thought it was AI.
Well, we're getting there, you know. But again, I can hire a chatter to talk to all these people for me, and I'm paying. Remember, I don't know if you use OnlyFans, but you have to pay to message somebody, okay? And it's expensive. So these people called chatters are having these full conversations, and these people are thinking like, man, this pretty girl's talking to me, and I'm gonna, you know, I might get somewhere with this, and this is fantastic, and it's
gotta
just
be smarter than that.
You know. So,
money goes where the smartness is.
right, exactly. You know.
The smartness is the more smart.
So how could you do that for your business? How could you use something like that? Like if you know you have a tool on your website that says, hey, if you're stuck, ask me a question, and that little box right there goes to your virtual assistant whenever somebody runs into a problem, guess what? Your customer service issues can be solved.
Yeah, I just found that the issue was automating tasks. It's like I had to spend a lot of time like training and then like spinning them up, and then they would be good at it, but then it's like, oh man, I don't have this time to even like train them.
Right.
Such and such.
So what I do now is when people hire me to get these VAs for them, I show them how to use AI to write out all your instructions. And I've learned a lot of people do this, and then they think like, oh, but he says he can do this, this, and this, but when I tell him to do it, he doesn't know what he's doing. And I said, did you write out an SOP? Did you have a very step-by-step instruction guide?
SOP?
That's what standard operating procedures.
Yeah.
Okay? And they're like, no, I didn't know I needed one. I'm like, that's why it doesn't work. I said, you can't just hire somebody and think like they're a magician, right?
Yeah.
You know? So I sit down and I show the person like, this is how you use AI to write up all your SOPs for every single task you're going to do. And then I show them how to use either automation tools to help funnel all that together. Because I've learned people use AI, but they're really bad at it. So they'll be like, I need 5 social media posts on business management. I'm like, would you tell that to another person? No.
Yeah.
you have no context, you have no understanding of what it is you're doing, you have no like groundwork. So yeah, you're probably going to get something bad back from that AI, you know. So yeah. But again, a virtual assistant can literally take you from nothing to making you a lot of money if you train them well. So, yeah. But again, having somebody just manage your social media for you, imagine how many job requests you would get from that. If every week you just hire them for 2 hours a week, okay, and they do all your socials, right? They write your articles, they do your posting and all that stuff. That's gonna make you look amazing. Because all of a sudden, like, you're active, you're doing all these things, all this stuff, you're writing about these topics, you're an industry expert, and now people are reaching out to you. And they're like, hey, I saw you do that, can you come speak at my event? You know, for 2 hours? All right, next one, public speaking, corporate gigs, and authors. This is another big one, because this right here, there was a guy that I saw on YouTube. This story I've told many times. He literally had no money. He had like $500 in his bank account, moved to Bali, and he was able to extend his runway a little bit, okay? So he sat down and learned how to use Weebly, built a basic website that looked like a fifth grader made the website. And then within 7 months, he was making 6 figures public speaking, okay? Because he had a little form on his site that says, if you want me to come speak, fill out this form. And then a little bio, he had a basic homepage, all this stuff, and he built it out in a weekend. And it probably pisses off a lot of people to hear that.
And he speaks about what?
And he speaks about the lifestyle of how to build your own company.
He's making it up as he was going.
But their website was shitty.
The website looked like it was made by a kid.
Oh, okay.
You know, by most standards. But if the name of the game in life is to make money, did he win? Yeah. Right. So what did he do after that? He's speaking, does all this stuff, right? What is he doing after that?
Living life.
No, he wrote a book. He wrote a book. All right. So now he's an author. Okay. And this was before AI. Okay. This was before AI. Now we have AI tools that can write books for us. So now there's no excuse you should have a book, right? So if we have AI tools now to write our books for us, where is everybody's book? Okay. So now you can use that to be like, hey, I go to a speaking event. Are you going to look for a conference to speak at? Who's going to do that for you? Your VA. Everybody should have said VA. What happened?
Sorry.
Okay. Because your VA is now scouting all the spots you need to go speak at. And you wrote your book, and now they're published, they're getting out there, they're doing all your marketing for you, they're building that out. And now all of a sudden you turn around like, hey, I have 5 conferences to speak at this year. And then you turn out to your VA and like, I need you to go find me more speaking conferences in this region of the world. Yeah. And then if you're not sure and you're really lazy, then you hire the VA to write your books for you, and then use AI to help make it better. That's how American thinks, right? Am I wrong? I mean, you should, right? You should.
I should leverage AI more. I'm not yet.
So,
yeah. As someone who works with AI every day, I should leverage it more too.
yeah. So yeah, there was a guy that I saw. He had So there was so here in Austin, he wrote a book. He wrote one book with AI. This is gonna piss you all off, okay? So he wrote a book with AI, and then he went and made $1 million. Okay, one book. Okay, really pissed me off. And then he goes and speaks on the top podcast in Austin, which is Austin Next Podcast, right? And he talks about his experience and all this stuff and what it took. And I'm like, you wrote one book. What is going on here? You know, if all it takes to get to $1 million is write one book with AI, like, and you're in Austin, like, I guess that's all it takes, you know.
What was it about?
I don't know. I didn't read the book, but I mean, like, I saw the whole like YouTube videos and like the podcasts and all these things, and I don't remember the book, but he was at South by, and he was at this big like internet marketing party, and there was all these influencers at the party, and I was just like, oh my god, this guy wrote one book. What is going on here, you know? So if that is the case now, remember, like, AI moves really quickly, and South by is like, what, 2-3 months old now? Yeah, you could write like a book a week, you know, and then just pump them out. There was a guy who, a year and a half ago, he already wrote 100 books using AI, and he published them all in Amazon store, right? And he priced them between like $2.99 and like $4.99, and he was already making thousands of dollars a month doing that. And the books were like maybe between 30 and 60 pages. So they weren't long books, but they were all sci-fi. So it wasn't the case of like, oh, there needs to be a fact checker. He can make up whatever he wants, you know? So somebody saw this and said, hey, let's go to the next level. Let's directly connect to the API for OpenAI, and let's have unlimited characters, right? So they did that, and they said, let's move to like not these small books, but let's get to textbook level, okay? So they're like, let's do industry like stuff. And they started like pumping out textbook after textbook after textbook. And they were just taking that and they're like, okay, what do we do next with it? They're like, okay, great, let's start approaching education companies. Let's start approaching all these places and sell them. So they were able to get to 6 figures doing that within like 4 months. You know?
Textbooks made for AI.
Yeah. So you can automate the system to where like, let's say the API pushes out the content, right? And now you need to fact check everything. So now you can write a GPT now to do a fact checker on the content that comes out. So then it goes through that, and then it goes to another GPT that goes through and then refines it for like textbook format. And then you can have that go through another GPT, and then that can do another check or whatever, and now you have a textbook.
You got a textbook factory.
Yeah, okay? And then you're just pumping out textbooks. So that's where we're at now, okay? So imagine where we're gonna be in 6 months from now, okay? Because ChatGPT 5 is just around the corner. So that's gonna change things even more. So again, AI is a game changer, and if you're not utilizing it, then yeah, you're really like doing things the hard way. Like
What's GPT now?
we're at 4.0.
Oh, you said GPT now, so you meant GPT-4.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, because GPTs by themselves are just individual agents, but GPT-5 will be around the corner. But if you can learn how to connect GPTs, that's where the money is. Because if I can build a GPT, and I can connect 4, 5, 10, 20 of them together, guess what? I have my own corporation, okay? Because if, let's say I have a product and I want to drop ship a product, right? And I say, okay, great. If I wanted to do this, I have to go hire a marketing firm to do branding. Now I need to go to legal and say, what legal documents do I need to sell this? Now I have my website guy, I need to confirm it. But if all these are AI agents, and I say, I'm selling this product, set me up, and they all converse with each other in a matter of like seconds, and they have everything I need like that, isn't that power? Isn't that why so many companies have let so many people go?
In the tech space.
Yeah. So there is one website I will show you. Yeah, there we go. So this is a company that just sort of debuted. And what they do is they do the entire customer journey experience using AI agents. And they pull everything together in one thing. So I tell it my marketing objective, and it pulls everybody in a marketing firm together, but these are all AI agents. So it goes from the customer journey from start to finish. And it builds everything for me. The design for the website, the emails, the flyers, the marketing, the color schemes, all that stuff based off of the product or service or digital or whatever. So when I was showing this to people, it basically does the entire journey, and I said, okay, the money is not building individual GPTs, it is learning how to connect them. That's where the money is. You should know how to build a GPT. All that stuff is online on YouTube. So that's something like you should learn because it's super important to know. The money is knowing how to take that GPT you built and connect it to another GPT and make them talk. Because now you can have a legal expert here, and then you can have a marketing expert here, and then they can come together and talk and do everything in a matter of seconds, and then produce all your legal documents, do all your marketing design, your branding, all that stuff, and then that can go out to a website person, build everything, throw it out there, cool, done, right? So now every time you have a question, they all converse within each other.
So when you say make a GPT, you mean like train one on
OpenAI.
Yeah, train one on OpenAI over like marketing documentation, like feed them a bunch of, I don't know, like university marketing materials.
Yep. Yeah.
And then you can make a legal expert that way too.
Yep.
And it's not just a prompt engineering step, it's like it's a training process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So if I go over here to the database of AI, then I can look for marketing.
There's an AI tool for that.com.
Yeah, there we go. So if I go in here, I can look at marketing strategists, and I can see like, okay, great, marketing maven. And then this was built in the ChatGPT store. So it has a welcome message. These are all the prompts that will be given to me if I use it. And then this is how it was sort of built together. So this is the story, all these things, stuff like that. So then I can take this GPT and connect it to another GPT as well.
Do you have access to the API for that GPT?
You can do that as well, yeah. Yeah. So.
But these went through some training process.
Yes, they're all trained.
And does it cost money, like training?
It costs money, so it does not cost money to train them, but it costs money to access the store. So you have to have a subscription service, which is, be careful now, $20 a month, okay? So don't want to break the bank here.
But then, but there's a limit on the tokens, right?
So yes and no, because that's all changing still. Because again, these are getting faster and more advanced as time goes on. So I'm sure it's going to change how they're going to do that. Because if ChatGPT 5 is around the corner and we're already at 4.0 and that's free for everybody, then token limits, I don't know how long that's going to be around. You know, so. But yeah, so if I go in here and I say like legal, marketing legalities, so there's one for that as well. So then I can go in here, copy expert plus. So then I can talk to this ChatGPT expert that's on basically copyright law. You know?
Can you put psychologist in there? So I'd much rather not pay a therapist, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Virtual
So
psychologist.
Yeah, but why? But why? You know? So virtual psychology is
We don't need
why
that.
methods for self-exploration.
Oh, nice.
You know?
Yeah.
So
That's a good method.
why do you feel that way? Like what's going on? Like what's happening? Come on, talk. You know? So this is out there, but again, remember, this is different from the people who have built it independently, their own GPTs. So they're either accessing like Claude or they're accessing like Pi or Inflection, and they're doing that outside of the store. So we have a whole world of like different AI system models that are being built. Everybody here can go download Llama 3 from Facebook, right? And you can go put that onto your own computer and train your own model if you want to. You know?
Llama 3?
Yeah, it's Llama 3 from Facebook.
It's just released.
Yeah, exactly. And so you can download it, you can play with it, you can train it, you can do all kinds of things with it.
It can fit in a laptop now?
Yeah.
There's AI hardware now too, like NPUs and stuff.
So
But it
there's
can run your CPU.
yeah. So then if you go over here, this guy right here, this is the video that I learned the first one from, how to create custom GPTs. He doesn't really go in, just be aware it's 7 months old, but the process is still the same, okay? How to create custom GPTs. So this right here is such an important skill to learn, because if you can learn how to train an AI agent, that's a super important skill, because now I can go in and say like, okay, great, if I do that, I can build out, let's say, all the knowledge of every engineering field, right? And now I can take that and basically say, okay, I have eliminated the point of going to, it's just shutting off.
Yeah.
I can eliminate the point of going to engineering school, okay? Because if I'm showing my carburetor is damaged, and I take a picture of it and I give it to my engineering bot, right? And I say, hey, how do I fix this? Like, cool, but explain it to me using pictures. Now all of a sudden, that's worth money, right? Who's gonna pay for something like that? So if I do the same thing for architecture, if try to do the same thing for interior design, which again, those tools now exist. There are AI tools now for interior design. I can take a picture of a house, it tells me what to do. The color schemes, the schematics, the type of furniture, all that stuff, it matches everything. So that's already there. What's the point of an interior design school? Yeah, that's where we're
What's the
at.
point of money? You know, at some level it's like, everything's free now.
Yeah, exactly, because if it's so easy to get to 6 figures now using AI tools, then, you know, what's going to happen to your money? Yes.
But I think we might experience that in our lifetime.
Right. Yeah.
Possible.
So, let me go back here. But, yeah, so even this right here, you have AI tools that can write your books for you. You have AI tools now that can do all kinds of lead generations, you know. So there's so many tools coming out every single week. It's almost silly to be like, okay, why am I doing anything by hand now? Like, if you're still writing like letters by hand, like,
But what do you want to put your personal touch into, man?
then you train your own GPT to be you.
Does it have your soul?
Hey, we're close.
We're close.
Because I always tell people, like, you know, we have this, but what is the next thing coming? Do y'all know what the next thing coming is?
General intelligence.
No. It's not that. Because this is going to create a whole, this is going to create, oh, okay, thank you, finally. Okay.
Which, they've already done it. Apptronic and Tesla was doing it. Apptronic was actually funded over here from Capital Factory. You've heard of that company?
All right, so this article came out a couple months ago. But yes, this is it right here, and they will be mass producing humanoid robots. And so this just tells you, like, if that's what they're going to be doing, we have 7 robotic companies in the US right now that are also mass producing robots. So we have AI, and now we have robots, right? And so in the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to have robots walking around us. They're going to be doing jobs, all those kinds of things. So if that's the case, who are the ones that are going to be making money with that? Because again, it's not the case that these robots will only be for corporations. Anybody can buy them. Okay? If you have the money, you can buy them. And one of the cheapest models they have out, I think, I can't remember who it is. I think it's from like a company in Oregon, but the cheapest one will be $60,000.
I saw one for 16,000.
Okay, yeah.
Unitary.
Okay. So again, you could say in the next 5 to 10 years, people will be able to buy their own robots. Okay? And that means now we're going to have AI, robots, things like that. And now you're going to be like, okay, Matthew will have one for when he travels. That's who holds all his luggage. You know, that's the ones like, okay, great, get everything out of the taxi, bring it up to the room, I'll see you there. You know? And it's going to be a thing, you know? We think it's funny now, but the thing is, what is it actually doing?
Replacing us.
It's replacing us. It's replacing jobs, okay? And it's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of pissed off people. A lot of politicians are going to be really pissed off about it. So do y'all know what just got announced in the news today about AI?
Policy, regulation.
Ooh, we were close.
First AI made.
Nice.
Kirk
Wait,
Watson.
wait.
We're gonna automate.
I don't make Kirk Watson.
We're gonna have automated leadership.
God. What could go wrong?
Okay. But it's interesting what happened in this article because it talks about how, so the chatbot is named Vic, and he didn't actually know what to name the bot, so he asked the bot, what do I name you? He's like, what? I had to put Vic down. He's like, what does that stand for? And so the robot came back and said, oh, it's virtually integrated system. Okay? Fix that problem. And then a lot of people got very worried. But the thing is, he was able to submit it. Okay, but OpenAI turned around and said, no, we're going to shut your bot down. Now, they shut it down, but he kept the code. So he said, if that is the case, I'm going to take it to Llama 3 and still run. Because he submitted the application for Vic, but he's still the person. So how it works is, he will be the human, right? But everything will go through Vic. So it creates this really complicated situation, right? Because you still have a human in the position, but he's not making any of the decisions because everything will go through Vic. So how did he train this? Anybody want to take a guess?
YouTube videos.
Oh, nope. It's right there in that paragraph. Read it. He took all their data, all their meetings, all the notes, everything, and he uploaded it into the bot. And he said, this is how this whole area has been governed for basically decades. And that's what he trained the bot. So every time there's a situation he runs into, he'll ask it, and it will go through decades worth of information.
It's useful.
So I just downloaded Llama 3. I gotta go home tonight and download Llama.
Do you know how big this thing is, like file size wise or what?
It's very tiny. It's very tiny. I mean, because again, remember it's in the cloud. So
And it doesn't hang, it doesn't
I
retain.
thought you had to run it locally or they could shut you down.
So he was allowed to keep the code, okay, he was allowed to keep the stuff, but again, he told OpenAI that, look, if that is the case, that I cannot use it publicly, then he's gonna move it over to Llama 3 and still run anyways. So, again, the situation is very complex, because he still has code, he still has the information. So it's not like it's gone, and it's not like it's a massive thing, because again, it's just gonna get put into a cloud basis.
Can we replace Ray now with?
You know Blake Lemoine?
Who?
Blake Lemoine.
Who's that?
He was one of the first Google AI testers for Lambda
Okay,
back
okay.
in the day. And he came out and said AIs need their own attorneys, like they're actual people. It's kind of crazy anyway. He's still kind of fighting that fight.
Yeah, this happened too.
Mm.
So basically what happened was this company, if you've never heard of them, they're called Do Not Pay, and they use AI to help you fight all kinds of stuff, okay? So for example, like if your credit card company raised all your rates, you can use this tool to go in and lower all those rates, and it will tell you what to say to the company representative. So this AI robot lawyer was going to speak in a court and do all this stuff, but how it worked was it's glasses and it has an earpiece, and then that microphone would hear everything, and then it would just tell the person what to say. Okay? So there's a catch why it got shut down. Anybody know what that catch is?
Wiretapping.
No. Federal court does not allow audio recording.
Microphone.
Okay. That's the argument right there. But all the law firms and AGs sent cease and desist letters to this company and said, if you even try to continue to go with this, we will file criminal charges against you. Any idea why they would go that far?
Because it's gonna put them out of business.
Exactly. Because they know their job is basically
Wow.
obsolete.
So then these people can just go abroad and do it again. These jurisdictions.
Right.
They should, hopefully they do. I was following that for a while. Do not pay.
So yeah, so that is a really important website. So if you're trying to fight anything, use Do Not Pay AI agents to help you, and it will change your life. It is crazy how good they are. So the next one is e-commerce, and that is Shopify, WooCommerce, WordPress, TikTok shops, things like that. So I always show this to people because this is another industry. Like you should have a dropshipping store, right? Like dropshipping is so easy to set up. Like you go in. Let me show you a little tool. Oops. So if you don't know this guy right here, it will change your life. Basically, it's an add-on to Shopify. And what it does is you just go and say like, hey, give me the best trending products right now. And it will take everything and grab the products from Alibaba and AliExpress and then throw them into your store and then populate it with the images, the reviews, all that stuff, the pictures. And then you go in and design your website, done, okay? And it happens in a matter of seconds. It's such an amazing tool, but it is pricey. But it will help you, especially if you're doing dropshipping. Because if your industry is, you know, whatever it is you do, you should have a dropshipping store set up just for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're a marketing, let's say, agency, what would be in your dropshipping store?
Flyers.
Okay? brochures, things like that. Okay, anything else? If you're, let's say you do hiking, that's your job, right? You make hiking videos. What should be in your store? Backpacks, hammocks, you know, fishing gear, you know, boots, things like that. That can all be dropshipped. Okay? So if you talk about all this stuff, you do all those kinds of things, and you have your store and you just populate it with all these items, you drive the traffic to the store, guess what? You have another source of income. You know? So for here, it's a matter of just like affiliate marketing, you know, Pinterest. I always tell people, like, you know, you can go on Pinterest and whatever your field is, just create all these different boards and apply to the affiliate programs, and then just connect all those products in these boards. And then you can slowly build an income stream with that, you know. So because how many times do people go on these boards and they're like, oh, I like that, you know, create the perfect July 4th barbecue event, right? The grills, the products, the designs, all those things. You can do affiliate marketing for all that, you know, and make some money. Even templates, you can sell templates, you know. I always show this to people because, again, it pisses them off. So this one right here, I remember seeing this a long time ago, and I listened to the whole thing. And so this lady, where is it? I think I can find it. So she makes Excel templates, and where is it? I think it's, probably gonna be like the last one. Is that it? There it is, right there. So she was able to get to that number in 2 years just selling templates for Excel. Okay, that could be like simple things, grocery shopping lists. Could be like a custom template for like a startup, do your finances, items for inventory management, stuff like that. So 6 figures right there. She did that as a side hustle. So she built that up slowly, but again, she does custom templates as well. Now, knowing everything you just talked about, how would you set that up today?
Yeah.
Okay, and what else? You have your virtual assistant manage all that. So every time somebody comes in with a special request, the virtual assistant will go in and use AI to build up the template, post it on the store, and then sell it. And you're done. What did you do? You got the paycheck. Okay? So does that speak good? So I can't tell you how many times I've gone to Etsy and I've seen like all these templates for like all kinds of crazy stuff, like stickers, calendars, to-do lists, things like that, and they're making a killing. They're making a killing doing this. Now, of course, if you were to, let's say, do a whole thing in like coloring books, right? You can do coloring books and go into Canva and just create all these coloring books using AI. He's laughing because I know what he is thinking. Okay, now you could hire a VA to just do that for, let's say, 10 hours a week and be like, hey, go make all these coloring books, and you find all the events in the city, right, for conferences. And like, okay, great, this conference is coming up, this conference is coming up. I'm going to go populate 30 coloring books for that conference, and I'm going to geotag my marketing for that area and sell the hell out of that. Are you doing any of that work? No. You're probably playing video games at home, you know? So, or you're out at a barbecue.
You're sitting in the dark closets and we're having existential dread.
Yeah. That's what it means to understand automation. Okay, because you built a system in place to know that, like, if I'm going to come in and I'm going to sell digital products, I'm going to look for all kinds of things that are happening around. So there was another one that I followed, which was they create animal costumes, like dog costumes, right? And they dropship all that. And so they targeted to every dog costume festival or dog festival in the US, and then just sell the hell out of it. They can get to 6 figures in 3 months doing it. All you have to do is put a system into place and then learn how to drop ship, do everything, and guess what? That's one business with passive income. questions? Because I know you're thinking something.
What about prestige?
What's the point of that? What's the point of it?
There's an AI for that.
Yeah, it was like what, a social construct between, relative among humans, which are like
Yeah.
flesh stacks.
Uh-huh.
That's why an AI now has to have a flesh stack it's assigned to
Right.
in order to function in our
And that's what the robots are gonna be doing in 2 or 3 years.
Right, so we're just gonna be like containers. Instead of batteries or something.
So understanding that, yeah, so then, let's say you just have, you know, Excel templates. What do you need to build your system here? Like, what does your structure need to look like here to get your output? Okay? So if you have a VA and they work on templates, right? That's all they're doing. Then you have a VA marketing, and all they do is outreach. Okay? And then you have your VA for Shopify. And they just do updates. How much does that cost?
So these VAs again are people, but they're just low.
Right, they're people, but they use AI tools.
I paid my VA $150 a month.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
$4 an hour.
Yeah, $4 an hour is about average. Okay. So if you're doing, let's say, templates should only do about 3 to 4 hours a week. Okay. So then you have your VA marketing. That should only be about 4 to 6 hours a week. And then your Shopify person is really only about 1 to 2 hours, a week.
Where are you finding the VAs from? Upwork?
It could be Upwork, Fiverr, people per hour, all those kinds of things. But it doesn't really matter because you need to have a very good SOP. Your SOP is what matters. Okay, you can even find them on Facebook. But be careful. Okay, but you have your hours right here, which comes out to probably no more than what, $60 a week, maybe $40.
Very cheap.
It's very cheap. So if they're doing all that work for you, and you realize like they're making you an extra $3,000, $4,000 a month, then now you just have to figure out like how do you scale that. And if this is one business, then guess what? Now you can go dropship dog costumes, right?
How many businesses are you running right now?
So I have about 3. I'm going to show you something that I think always surprises people, because I saw this the other day. And this is a real thing. So I'm going to show it to you.
With its own characteristics of internet celebrity genius, is widely used in various industries. It can be installed quickly in 1 minute, supports multiple ranking, uploads video on mobile app, and supports customization.
Okay. Look at the next one. Who knew about this before that? Okay, cool. Did you know you can dropship them?
I do now.
Every time I show this to people, it freaks them out because they're like, that is the coolest marketing tool I've ever seen. And when you go to AliExpress, you can actually find these holographic fans and you can ship them in the store. So if you have that, look at this, what this guy did.
That looks like a hologram, but it's not. You actually can't wave your hands through it because
So he did a full room of that.
And this is what a bunch of holographic people
You know?
behind one person. And that looks like a
So,
hologram?
again, look for different things that will grab somebody's attention. Nobody in Austin I've ever seen on let's say, a vendor market or anything is using anything like that to sell their products. And I told somebody, I said, wouldn't it be funny if I set up a booth and I'm selling like these little rinky-dink items and I use the holographic projector to sell my products, but I'm actually selling this because people keep asking, how do I buy this? So I flip it. It's like, but don't you want this? No, I want the fan. It's like, but I'm not selling that. Okay, fine, I'll sell it for $2,000.
It's my only one.
Yeah, no, right. I got a whole bunch of my kind. So it's just a matter of like, okay, find something that people are going to really gravitate to, something that like pulls their attention, and drop ship it.
So you're drop shipping now?
No, I mean, but you can.
Yeah.
That's why I show it to people, because again, it's something that most people don't realize, like, you can drop ship really large items, and again, you have nothing to do with the product, right? You're just making the website. The manufacturer sends it to the customer. You have nothing to do with that process, you know? So, again, a good VA can come in and just manage that customer experience to make sure that nothing goes wrong. So if an order comes in, like, hey, they just monitor it and make sure everything's correct. They check back, like, is the address correct? When are you home? Like, how do we do this? Things like that. That makes sure that you don't have any returns. And that's great, because the manufacturer, if they see you have too many returns, they don't want to work with you. You know? But again, if your VA for your marketing is doing a lot of outreach, they're doing your ads, they're marketing, they're targeting all these groups, they're posting your stuff, guess what? That's driving all that traffic. That's doing it for you. You know? So meanwhile, you're just focused on building the next website. So.
The next business.
Exactly.
Are you drop shipping anything?
No. I just sell like digital products and services. So again, a lot of like, I moved to like remote workers because I've learned like a lot of companies and individuals are so bad at just having an assistant. Like Americans are just so independent and they want to do everything themselves that that's how they burn themselves out and they get nothing done.
Yep.
Because they're just like, no, I'm gonna do my website, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. And guess what? You wasted all that time when somebody could have hired $4 an hour to do it for you. And then guess what? Now you have a company that's running.
So you provide that service?
I provide that service.
And you find VAs and everything?
Yeah. So I sit down with you and I go through that entire process. And I'd be like, hey, look, this is how you're gonna vet somebody, this is how you're going to go through the process. These are the red flags to look for. Because I can't tell you how many times I've met people, they go through it, and all of a sudden they're just like, oh, I thought you said these people were amazing and all this stuff. I was like, what happened? It's like, well, it wasn't the price that they said they were. I was like, oh yeah, you got scammed. You know? I was like, because you don't know what you don't know. You know? Because when you try to hire someone on an international level, it's a completely different world. You know? So, but for this, I do have this one little book, and that is the Kindness Diaries. And this guy right here wrote this book way before a lot of this stuff was happening, so I'll just pass it around. So what he did was, he says, can I travel the world for pretty much free or cheap on the kindness of strangers? And he documents his whole experience about like what it took, and he did it. And he saw all these people that reached out to him, and they opened their houses, they invited him to places, and he was able to basically travel the entire world for free. If you've never seen this one YouTube video, it is a really good video, How to Travel the World for Almost No Money. I watched that a long time ago. It's 9 years old, but it's still worth it today. And that guy basically just shows you like, hey, look, this is what it takes to travel. And it's surprisingly very easy. You know, you just have to be very open, talkative, you know, learn small talk. Like I can't tell you how powerful small talk is, because it really opens a lot of doors. There was another movie I saw, it was called No Cameras Allowed, and he just shows you like how to crash all the biggest music festivals in the world, and MTV Films actually made that movie. And he just travels the world breaking into all these like music conferences. And in that movie, he was hitchhiking in the UK because he was going to the music festival. and he met this guy who was his truck driver, right? And they had this huge conversation, and they became best friends. And all of a sudden, it took that conversation and said, hey, you know what, I'm going to ACL, I'm gonna go crash ACL, do you wanna come with me? And he invited a stranger that he met, and he brought him over to Austin, and they crashed ACL. But it shows you the power of learning how to converse with people. Because, again, networking is so important. So if y'all don't know, Fiesta is tomorrow night here. Please make sure to attend. If you've never been, it's a lot of fun.
Is it in fifth floor?
First floor.
What is it again?
Fiesta, so it brings together like founders, entrepreneurs, investors, educators, things like that. You've been.
Yeah, but to be honest, I didn't find a lot of value because it seems like they network against each other, and they have something going on and need help, but I just need ideas for business. I don't know, I guess maybe I don't know how to use it for my case. I'm just an engineer looking for business ideas.
Right. Yeah.
You're exploring.
You're exploring. Yeah.
Like I'm in the same boat.
Okay.
Like, cause a lot of these events you go to and everybody's got their startup, you're looking for investment and they wanna sell you something, this thing and that thing. I'm like, okay, I'm here to hear about everything that's going on, but I'm not gonna buy anything, I'm not an investor. I'm from Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should go.
Philly ain't doing it.
And if you have questions, that's my calendar thing. If you want it or not, it's right there. So if you want to bookmark it.
It's a free 15 minutes?
Yep.
I wanted to ask slash bring up in conversation a little bit about the whole, life is different when you're bouncing around and in transit versus when you're in a place building. And as somebody who attempted to settle and live in Korea and basically failed because of different reasons, but first and foremost, I'm only ever going to be a guest there. And two, in the actual code, the immigration system is very difficult, so I experienced like the reverse.
Yeah.
So especially with this Thailand 5-year visa, like it sounds great and all that, but what if like 3-4 years in, you're like, this is awesome, I want to spend the rest of my life here, and then now you're just like, well, wait, now what? And then if you start to figure out you need to go home, now you just spent that 5 years instead of being whatever home was going to be, and it's kind of like you'd be coming home to nothing, or you have to build it up again.
There's ways around it, like one of the things you can kind of do is border runs like every 3 months where you like cross the.
And I did that from Korea to Japan.
Yeah.
I just wonder how long you could do that, how effectively you could do that before you run into trouble. If you run into trouble, I don't know. Maybe you never do, but some places might give you trouble. But this is also why, like, after that whole experience, I was like, all right, I don't want to ever be like spending time or building up in a place again where I'm not like a native citizen or a resident. So that's what I was just saying earlier. I've had on my list now for a while to go to Panama. Why? Because I got Italian citizenship during the pandemic, and it just so happens that they have like a green card treaty, so at least I could go just get a green card. That much I know. I know nothing else about Panama other than there's a canal. So maybe next week I go, something like that. And the flights are cheap. It's like $149 one way.
I'll go.
You wanna go? Yeah, there's a place that, like a historical district called Casco Viejo, and I saw this little hostel there with a pool on the roof, some bars and restaurants on the roof overlooking the city, and it's like, I think $10 a night for a little bunk. And people will be working out of there, digital nomads and stuff like that. Yeah.
What was the visa situation like in Korea? Just curious, like, do they have like education visas? Or?
Yeah, if you're a student, I mean, yeah, if you could want to be a professional, or like, not professional, but like you can get a student visa. That's usually not too hard. You can't work legally on it unless you do like some you're allowed to do a little bit of part-time work. You could do the 90-day tourist things, maybe almost indefinitely, but you have to run.
Well, Thailand has like a visa where you can stay there up to like, I think it's like a year if you like take like language education courses.
Okay.
I don't know if Korea has something.
I'm sure, yeah, they do. Yeah, as long as you're there in some material way that you're bringing like GDP into it, they like that.
So that's my LinkedIn. If you're also on LinkedIn, I will have my class on Wednesday. So if you want to come see how to build a website in 2 minutes, I will have that as well. Other than that, we do have to be out in like 2 minutes. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something from it. digital nomad lifestyle is very fluid and it does change quite a bit, so. But the most important thing to realize is like build as many income streams as you can to support yourself, because I always tell people like if you can have one that supports your insurance costs and then your travel costs, your housing costs, your food costs, like the idea is like you're not limited to the number of businesses you can run. Like it's surprising how many times I have to tell that to people because they think like I just need one business. Like no, build like 20, 30, like you know, there's no limit. And it's okay to do that because if you have a remote team there to support that, let them make you money. You know, that's their job. So
I needed that permission slip.
there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, were you in the UT bootcamp?
But thanks so much for coming. Yes. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, a long time ago.
How long ago?
Dude, I was in so I run I recommend so this is for solopreneurs who don't travel, but they
Well, it's okay, I've changed a lot, you know,
yeah, so this is like the opposite.
But, I have long hair and beard now. Yeah, were you
Yes, arrive early to get a good seat.
It was a guy.
with the beard?
Is it here?
Yeah, we're in the same class, dude.
He worked for, Spicer.
Spicer, yeah. Dude, Eric.
Yeah, Eric, yeah.
Thunder
Good teacher,
was
yeah.
a crag. Yeah, dude, he's a good teacher. So you got a dev job out of
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
So, no, I mean, I wanted that to, I was already a software engineer, I wanted to that for, yeah, add it to my resume.
Even myself.
Not that type of thing. You know that?
What, class?
The whole idea of building websites, that's like automated now, like
Yes.
there's,
I mean,
I went to
I'm
engineering
still.
school.
Well, everything's updated now.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I was laughing. I was like, literally everything's about, it's only gonna come off the rails.
it's about to blow up, I mean, they're working on stuff.
Coming off at the seams.
Grab your kids and grab your wife.
Yeah, grab it now, like,
Thanks a lot, Chris. You really just ruined my day. Are you out of here?
I'll probably show up for a bit. You guys wanna chill?
Yeah, I'm down. I mean, I don't wanna invite myself.
Okay. Nah, that's cool. I'll sit
I
with
tried to use it.
Chris, he's in town. With his basis, he'll tell you with his family.
Well, yeah, I can walk outside. So if you want, I'm gonna meet everybody down in the lobby, because we just have to be outside the
Whoever
door.
finds a place.
Yeah, on the first floor, yeah. So if you go down the elevator, right there by the lobby, I'll meet with everybody. Okay, perfect.
Question for you. We're gonna talk about maybe,
Almost the
I
same.
wanna come Wednesday, we're gonna talk
Okay.
I
about,
think it's like,
I don't know if you can, about how to connect the AGTs.
Oh, you want that? Okay.
Yeah, because, I mean, I've heard about Crew AI.
She's like a fresh grad.
I mean, I'm a coder, so I like the idea of using APIs to do it programmatically, but I don't know if that's the best way.
Right.
The
I
first
don't know, I just wanna get your input on what you heard was the best way to connect it.
Uh-huh.
Or whatever.
I just wanna make sure I have
I brought her, like, she let me take her out from her place this time.
I have my
And it's like, look, this luxury condo right by 35.
And then we just need to be out.
Yeah. And, she's broke. She quote has $75 in her checking account. And the cheapest thing in that building is $1,800 a month. Well, I don't think so, because she's working like a dog. It's one of those things where you can insist on having your own place and your lifestyle or whatever, but I think that's like the reason you can't down because I live in a place that I travel the world. Most of it's free. I don't. Yeah. Sure just be doing that. That's all I want to about. Most of my staff, most of it's like you're gonna read everything. Yeah.